Hey there guys, this is Darwin with another review, and we are continuing Bourbon County week. We have Barleywine this time. I just did the stout and a bunch of videos, and so we're comparing 13 and 14, just like we did the stout. And I'll be talking about some stuff as I do this blind and mix up these glasses. So, talking about this beer. So first of all, it doesn't actually say on the front what year it is, though you maybe can tell from the labels. The 13 has this kind of like pinkish kind of brown color, whereas the 13 has this kind of cinnamon reddish brown color. It does say on the back, so that's a way to say. See, there's a date right there. There you go. So let's start pouring. So this is the 13. Yep, this is 13, and that is a 13 glass. So anyway, so talking about this beer, this is Bourbon County Barleywine. This is a beer that they first released last year. However, they did previously release King Henry, which is a pretty rare beer now. It's been a few years since they've released that beer. And that beer was pretty much the same base beer, actually, except they used Pappy barrels. This beer, however, is with third use barrels. I have the same amount in there. Yeah. This is a third use barrel, which means that the barrels that held this beer were first used for bourbon, then they held Bourbon County Stout, and then they held this beer. So you're offered an interesting kind of complexity. Each time you fill a barrel with something, it's going to affect what you later put in that beer. And I've noticed with this beer that you sometimes get a little bit of Bourbon County Stout kind of flavor, which is pretty interesting and actually is a great note in this beer. I will say about this beer is that I've had the 13 throughout since its first release, and I've noticed that the beer actually ages extremely well. I've noticed a lot of wonderful complexities and sort of notice as this beer sort of has changed in literally just 1 year. So hopefully I'm not making that up, and we can actually see how 13 and 14 compare, and I'm doing this blind. So let's dig into the first one. Wonderful aroma. I get a big pop of sweet kind of toffee, a lot of bourbon, a hint of dried dark fruit in the back. But it smells quite malty, quite bourbony, a lot of caramel flavor. Cheers. Whoa. I've gotten these warmed up quite a bit, actually, so I'm really getting everything in there, and it is quite hot, obviously. This is the last year's was 12.1, and this one is 12.3, so pretty high ABV stuff. Big kind of alcohol presence up front, but it's that wonderful, rich kind of bourbon kind of quality. Throughout, I get a kind of sprinkle of kind of caramel sugar, caramel candy, brown sugar kind of flavor. A lot of dark fruit throughout, sort of like dried plum, dried cherry kind of flavors. Sweetness on the back end keeps going. Maybe a hint of that oak presence. And actually even get this kind of like richer, kind of darker flavor, which reminds you of Bourbon County Stout. So a little bit of like maybe molasses or vanilla, something really a little bit more rich, and reminds me of a little bit of Bourbon County Stout. Yeah, I get a nice kind of almost like a coffee roasted quality, a little bit. Really good stuff. Don't know which one that is actually, but it's drinking very well. That one was really good. Oh wow. Maybe I'm crazy, but this is smells like a more muted aroma. I'm getting a big pop of bourbon. Smells pretty similar. Quite sweet. Maybe even more dark fruit in this one. A little bit more, yeah. Cherries, plums, dates, all those dried, wonderful dark fruits. Same kind of sweetness. Cheers. Wow. That is a little bit different. Wow. Again, up front with the bourbon. It's quite, this pop of alcohol kind of flavor. Wonderful sweetness. Caramel sugar, brown sugar, same kind of notes, but there's something a little bit different about this one. A little bit less dark fruit, maybe. Yeah, a little, oh, that's what it is. It tastes more like candied fruit. This one tastes more like dried fruit, if that makes any sense. This one's a little bit more of this candy, kind of sugary sweetness. Same kind of, almost like Bourbon County kind of notes in there. A little bit of that like slight kind of almost roasted quality maybe. But wonderful kind of Bourbon County familiar kind of complexities in there. That vanilla comes throughout. Maybe even a touch of that coconut flavor that you get from the barrel. Really nice and sweet. and a clean kind of finish on the back end. Leaves a little bit of sugar to sort of counteract that big pop of bourbon you got up front. Wow. Sorry. Really nice. This is hard. Wow. I'm having a hard time trying to discern between the two. And I thought the beer actually aged very well. This one might have more depth and flavor. Yeah. As I drink this one more, this one has big kind of complexity of like almost like a cherry cordial or something, almost like dropping dried fruit into some bourbon or something. It just has this kind of caramel sugar, and then like caramel sugar kind of a dessert, and then you splash a little bourbon there, and then you just put in a bunch of like cherries, maraschino cherries, kind of dates and figs and all those wonderful fruits, and it has a little bit more of that Bourbon County stout kind of flavor in this one. Yeah, this one's slightly more hot, a little bit more upfront on the palate, a little less kind of drawing out of flavor throughout. Yeah, this one's a little bit more sweet, a little bit more rich, a little bit more luscious of a flavor, a little bit more complex. So my suspicions are confirmed in my mind. I want to say that this is 13 and this was 14. So they stack up like this. I mix them around. Let's find out which one's which. Yep, there we go. All right. So I had on the Bourbon County Stout review, I had the two switched. This one I did get right. So. Yeah. Age your Barleywine. Man. Maybe I was saying earlier that I couldn't discern between the two, but now as I drink them, obviously now it's revealed, so I obviously have confirmation bias now. But before, I was saying that the 13 is drinking incredibly. I actually did this at a bar as well last week. Yeah, it was last week. We were at a bar where we had 13 and 14 barley wine, and my friends and I agreed the 13 is just drinking incredibly. This beer is a slightly tight on the palate, whereas this is just gorgeous. It's luscious flavor throughout, wonderful amounts of dark fruit, and that stout flavor and that syrupy sweetness. It is a very sweet beer, so think of this more as a dessert beer. Yeah, think of this more as a dessert beer. The Bourbon County Stout, has that kind of coffee and chocolate and roasted flavor sort of cut away from that sweetness that Bourbon County has. This is just a pure sugar bomb. It's quite caramelly, it's quite sweet. So if you're not into sweet beers, sorry about that. But this is a wonderful beer. If you have any Bourbon County, please age it, because this is actually drinking extremely well. I would say this is probably a better beer to age than the regular Bourbon County Stout. And by the way, in the comments, please post what you think about this beer, whether you have had any experience aging this beer, and whether you'd like to see me review 13 and 14 coffee, because I do have those, and I'm deciding whether I want to review them. If there's a huge cry out for me to review those beers, then I'll do it for you guys. It's all for you guys in the end. Please comment and subscribe and let other people know about this channel. Until next time, guys, cheers, later.